Hello and welcome to Chatter That Matters. My name is Maria from An-Nisa, and I'm excited to introduce our new prevention series. And I'm also excited to introduce my co host, Sadaf Patel.
Assalamualaikum, Maria. Thank you for having me.
Wa alaikum assalam. So, for all the listeners out there who may not know you, could you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you do and what kind of amazing person you are?
My name is Sadaf Patel. I am currently doing my master's in social work because even though I had a finance background, I realized that I love doing community service. I have been volunteering for the past 15 years and have been with An-Nisa since 2016. I have done everything from case management to community fulfillment to whatever you name it, I've done it. Anything to make our community foundation stronger.
Yeah,
I love it.
alhamdulillah. And also, just to give out her official title here at NISA is Preventative Education Director. So she definitely has put herself out there and taken care of our community and done a lot of work with our clients. So now, starting with our series, can you just give us a little bit of an insight about what is prevention and DV month? Like, can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Okay, that's a really good question, Maria. What is prevention? So, I have been working at An-Nisa for a while now, and An-Nisa is about 15 years old. We have been doing so much case management, and not just An-Nisa, all DV organizations. We work with the clients, we try to empower them, get them self sufficient, all of that stuff. But that's not reducing the numbers of domestic violence, of abuse that's happening. We've seen it in our community. The Muslim community is just as bad as anybody else in terms of how much domestic violence occurs. And so we started thinking, and this is BB's baby, I would say, about what can we do to reduce domestic violence in the community. And honestly, prevention. So you're going to ask, what does prevention mean? Prevention is a big umbrella term for so many different things. Prevention is making the community healthy. Because what does that do? When you have a healthy community, you don't have abuse. So how do you make the community healthy? You have to know yourself. You have to understand who you are, what triggers you, so that you become a better person, right? With your relations. You have to know how to communicate better. You have to know how to resolve conflicts. You have to understand parenting because parenting is our biggest job. And if we don't parent our children properly, they grow up to be bullies. They grow up to be, very low self-esteem, which can make them angry, violent. So being a good parent is so essential, right? To be able to give that child that upbringing that makes him or her a good person. Because what is prevention is when you can ensure that a community is full of good people that are working together, helping each other, building a strong foundation, right? When you have abuse, that just takes away from a healthy community. And so parenting, as I said, communication, all of these things are essential.
That's wonderful. And I think you tapped into a lot of areas that many people don't focus on. And I want to reel it back into the beginning. The thing that stood out to me is knowing yourself and how it correlates to parenting, and that results into children being either the victims or the bullies in the community. So can you give us just a little bit more about what is it when it means knowing yourself, and how can you identify in yourself what are the areas that triggers you and what areas you should improve? What does that look like, and how should I look at myself in the mirror? Because I feel like a lot of times when people think about themselves, they either think something really positive or really negative, or they look in the mirror and they understand that, hey, maybe this is someone I don't want to be, or hey, I need areas I need to improve in, but I don't know what to do or how to start or where to go or who to talk to. So can you give us a little bit more about that?
Oh my gosh, knowing yourself is a huge topic, right? We actually do workshops. It's a 2-hour workshop that doesn't even begin to cover what knowing yourself is. Because I don't have the audience in front of me, but if I could ask how many people truly know yourself, maybe a handful would be like, oh, I know who I am. So what does it mean to know yourself? do you understand, like, what is your self? It's a journey of self exploration, both internal and external. So inside, like, what are your values? What are your beliefs? What do you want to do? So many times, like, especially in our Desi community, right? I feel like our parents have this, like, parents have this thing that they own their children, and they make it so that whatever, they dictate their values on the children. So sometimes they don't even know what those values are. So then hypocrisy occurs. Like, they'll say something, but they'll do something else. And children only emulate what they see, right? So it's just a matter of, like, you grow up thinking you're going to be, your parents are like, oh, you should be a doctor, you should be an engineer, you should be a lawyer. Like, that's what you should be. So you grow up just trying to meet expectations that have been placed on you without even trying to figure out, well, who am I? What do I want to do? What do I like? Sometimes, like, I'll ask my clients that, what do you want to do? Like, okay, now that you're free or you want to become something, what do you want to become? And they're like, I don't know.
Exactly.
I've never had the chance to, like, explore
Exactly.
what I even like to do, what
Yeah.
I even want to do. And it's sad because that's probably, like, at least 90% of the population.
And I think a lot of our listeners can resonate with that. I think there is some kind of mask that we have on because we're trying to impress our parents or our community or whoever it may be out there in society, with the expectations that they have for us. So it does make us feel like we have to put everything in the back,
Yeah.
of who we are, what we like, what we don't like, and not even speak up about it. And you know, when it comes to speaking up, I think, when things happen to us in life, we don't say anything.
And that's exactly a topic of communication. Like, when we go out and teach these workshops on communication, we talk about passive aggressive and assertive communication, where we've just grown up, like, especially a lot of times, I hate to say this, but it's true, like with girls, right? You've been told that just, be quiet, or you don't need to say something, or even they themselves are just like, oh no, it's okay, it doesn't matter, let it go, let it go, let it go. But inside, it does start to matter. But people have become so used to you letting things go that they don't even ask you anymore, right? Your value, your opinion doesn't even matter anymore. So it's so important to, like, speak up and say what you want or what you feel about a situation, but in a way that's respectful, that's not aggressive or rude or makes it sound like, oh my God, like, what's wrong with her, right? It has to be said, but it has to be said appropriately, like, oh, for example, a friend shows up late to a movie you really wanted to see, and because of that, you miss it, right? So the passive person would be like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's okay. But what happens with that? Your friend never realizes that it bothered you, that you waited and you wasted so much time and you wanted to see the movie. So it's simple to just say, listen, I'm really disappointed we missed the movie because I really wanted to see it. So next time, I'd like to pick a time that works better for your schedule. It's not disrespectful, it gets your point across, and it helps the person understand, your friend understand, that, what, it mattered to her. I need to make sure that next time that doesn't happen, and we figure out a schedule that works for both of us. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a simple thing, but it's just making sure the other person understands how you feel and why you feel it.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I feel like the thing is, most of the people in our community, especially all our young ladies, they were never given the verbal tools or, like, the language to understand how to step up for themselves or just say what's on their mind in a way that's respectful. I think that, in a way, we're taught how to say sorry, excuse me, please, but we're not told or taught how to say, well, not today, not right now, or hey, can we do something else, or just speak up with your own mindset. I think a lot of times people feel bad. And I think the thing is, when you stand up for yourself, a lot of times, including myself a few years ago, I felt bad for standing up for myself. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. What about
No,
their
but
feelings?
what you said makes sense about verbal language, right? You would be surprised what a difference language makes. Like, for example, using I language instead of you language. Like, when you say you start blaming somebody, right? So it sounds like you are getting upset and they become defensive. For example, you never clean the dishes. What does that do? If I say you never clean the dishes, you're going to be like, what? She's attacking me. And you're going to go straight into defense mode instead of solution mode. But if I say, I feel frustrated when I come home and find a sink of dirty dishes, you know, I like clean spaces. What do you think if we work on it together?
That's a little bit more peaceful. I like that
Right?
approach.
If you're not defensive right away, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a bothering her, and it's not, it's not good to have this pile of dirty dishes. When you feel blamed, you're always late. You come home late. The husband's coming home after a hard day of work, and the wife is like, you're always late. It's just like you're suddenly like, wait, what? I'm being attacked.
Yeah.
So then you start attacking, and your voice automatically gets higher.
Yeah.
Or when a child does something like spills something or gets a bad grade, they feel bad already.
Yeah.
But then when their parents start blaming them, that makes them feel even worse.
And I think that would set them an example how to react in the future with other people. If
Yeah.
they see their parents behaving this way, well, maybe it's normal to them, and maybe I should also immediately, my reaction is to yell at somebody
Or
or
blame
blame
somebody.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, and so now that we've dipped in just a little bit of a preview of what it means to know yourself and also what kind of communication, healthy communication looks like, can you just talk about a little bit more about what a healthy family foundation looks like?
Healthy family foundation. What does that mean? That means where everybody in the family can talk and communicate with each other in a respectful manner, understand each other, and allow each other to be who they want to be. So you have boundaries, you have communication, you have knowing yourself, you have parenting, you have all of these tools. You need to learn skill management. How do I control my anger? How do I speak clearly? Just like I talked a little example of assertive communication. All of these things help build a healthy family foundation, and it starts with a healthy you. That's the most important thing. If I have good self esteem, confidence in myself, if I'm a respectful person, that's how I will treat others, and that's how others will treat me. And that's what is the building block of a healthy family foundation and a healthy community.
So Sadaf has given us a lot of great advice and a lot of great things to discuss in the future. One thing I want to ask before we end our episode is there one last advice you can say or some kind of tip for our listeners to take home with them?
So, we've been talking about a little bit about communication and knowing yourself. There's so many more skills that are important for our community to learn, and I would love for our viewers to tune in to our podcasts so that we can teach you these skills that are going to be so important for your family foundation. I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk about all of these different things that are part of prevention, but also part of building yourself. So my takeaway for you today would be go home, look at yourself in the mirror, and ask yourself, who am I? Until next time.
Thank you, Sadaf. Thank you very much. And those who are listening, while you're driving, just think about it in your route, in your commute, and evaluate yourself. And I think this is a beautiful message that she's giving out to us, and we're excited to share more with you guys. So until next time, thank you for tuning in.